more about like how you tend to your inner life? Because I think there's a notion sometimes that technology has a place, right? But so does meditation have a place.
Yeah.
So does certain journeys have a place. And I'm curious, like, how have you found that balance in your life? And what are some of the things that you do to kind of, both with technology but also not with technology, that helps you feel connected and in a heart space, if you're comfortable?
Sure, of course, of course. I said this to Jack a few weeks ago. I am really happy for all of the time I've spent meditating, because having like a reserve of calmness to draw on these last few months, where it feels like I've just been in this crazy onslaught, has been a very nice thing to have had. And I know I'm like drawing down the debt right now, or the buildup, and I need to go replenish that. But it's been a great thing. Meditation has definitely been the center of this for me. And I kind of like found it somewhat randomly, and it immediately stuck and was very transformative.
Maybe someday you'll find a good teacher to support you, which would be amazing.
Would happen.
Do you want to say anything, Jack, about the inner life and how we tend to that, and what technology can do for us? Because I think it's interesting. You still work with Jack versus an AI, right? You find useful Jack, and there's for now.
Oh yeah. Right. You could just make a chat.
Jackbot.
Jackbot.
ChatGPT.
I'll go on vacation.
I think a lot of people would like that.
A lot of people want that.
Yeah.
I mean, in a certain way, what you're saying, Sam, is something that I wish were true for a lot of other folks who are in the position of trying to develop things that are going to be used and affect so many people. To get quiet enough, going back to that statement of one of my teachers, that the mind creates the abyss and the heart crosses it, that to find a way that we can get quiet enough to listen to our own values, and also to watch or listen in the way that David Seamas talked about earlier today, where his work was to actually listen deeply. So, I don't see meditation so much as, okay, I'm going to get rid of my stress or have some great state. Those can happen, but that you actually get present and tuned in to where you are, and that there's a spaciousness or a graciousness in that, from which you can make decisions that are wiser. And that's really the value and the point of it. Then from the Buddhist side, the most central teachings, and it would have been fun to actually bring it. There's a big text called the Avatamsaka Sutra, which is a Mahayana text. And in it, it speaks of the Buddha's Four Noble Truths, that there's suffering. Anybody not experienced that? Raise your hand, you can have your money back, okay. There are causes, which are greed, hatred, and ignorance. Fear maybe goes in there too. And the more greed, hatred, and ignorance there are, the more suffering there'll be. The less of it, the more there's generosity, the more there's, instead of hatred, there's love, the more there's clarity and wisdom instead of ignorance, the greater the well-being of all beings, of those, and so forth. And then the beautiful thing is, suffering isn't the end of the story. There's a path, there are practices, mindfulness, compassion, connection. So the question, in some way, and the Avatamsaka Sutra, I'll go back to it, it describes dozens of universes. Universes made out of flowers, universes made out of thought, universes made out of fire, universes made out of silicon. I'm not sure that's in there, but they go through the elements. We're getting close. And in every one of those universes, it says there's a Buddha, or a Buddha consciousness arises, and it teaches the same noble truth, that the more greed and hatred and ignorance, the more suffering, and then there's a path to the liberation from it. So it feels like it applies in some deep way to what's being created. Can what's being created create from the foundation of promoting generosity, wisdom, trust, and clarity or honesty, those kind of things, and love? If it does, it will benefit, and it will create a universe of value. So there's something about the underlying, looking at the underlying value structures where you have to bring what we know in the heart together with the technologies. And I don't know how that resonates for you, Sam, as I say it.
Absolutely, yes.
And do you have conversations with your team? Is this a kind of a team conversation that you can have with them that says, okay, as we build this, is there who has an idea to how can this support, let's say, compassion in the world? Or is it the feeling that if we can kind of provide people the information, they can kind of find it on their own?
No, we talk, I think, as much about having a positive impact and not having a negative impact as we do on actually building the technology. Mm-hmm. In the early years, it was like, are we going to get anything to work at all?
Right.
Like, this has all happened fairly quickly.
Yeah.
I mean, not in the grand scheme. We've been working on the company for seven
years?
something years. But at this point, we're relatively confident we know how to make technological progress from here. Yeah. And now a huge amount of the conversations are about where we want to go and how we want to manage things.